Into this.
I'd like to call this committee of the whole meeting for December the 4th, 2023 to order at 7 p.m. I'd like to recognize that we're on the ancestral land of the Indigenous Ways of Creation and homeland of the Métis, and we are all treated. Next, I would like an approval of the agenda. Councillor Fitzpatrick, Councillor Wong, all in favor? Carried. Next, we have a delegation. Hindu Pratna Sama, and with the ones that want to speak, please step forward. You need another chair if there's more than two of you.
No.
Please. Basically, how it works is you have 10 minutes to make your presentation, and then council will ask any questions, and all the questions will come through me as the chair, and your answers will come through me as the chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can we sit down or we have to stand?
Either way, nope, you're fine.
Good evening, everyone. So, the Hindu Pratna, I am the Jimesh Patel, Vice President of the Hindu Pratna Samaj. The Hindu Pratna Samaj is non-profit religious organization for the Indian members of our community since last 40 years. Our goal is to provide an area in which members are able to practice their religion and worship together as a whole. Our culture, events, and religious ceremonies are only made possible by donations from Hindu Pratna Samaj members and the community members. Although our amenities are accessible to anyone who may wish to participate and pray, our group has gathered for approximately the last 40 years and has hosted an average of 12 events a year, which include Diwali, Holi, Garba, Navratri, and the New Year, and many more. These religious events have allowed us to welcome our newcomers and encourage a sense of belonging, while also easing the integration process into a multicultural society and allowing non-Indian members to learn and participate within our culture. Our concern is that over the last couple of years, the Garba, means our religious dance festival that was hosted at the Thompson Regional Community Center, has become a staple within our religious events. We have enjoyed sharing our tradition with the community and would like to continue moving forward. However, our last couple of years, a 3-day event had costed us approximate $900 to $1,200 to put on, and this year we are informed has costed us $5,600 for 4 days instead. We understand that there is a lot of work that had to have been done by the staff to make this event possible, and we do appreciate the efforts. We are surprised and confused as to why there have been such a drastic change in the price, considering we had only added an additional day. Going from a 3-day event to a 4-day event, again, this event was only made possible by donations from Hindu Pratna Samaj members and was open to anyone. The buffet were set up in the main lobby while checkpoint was held inside the gymnasium, only to control the maintain the peaceful setting, but was again open to anyone who would have liked to participate. A $5,600 fee for an important event hosted by a non-profit organization is not sustainable, and if there is no change, we would be forced to cancel all future religious ceremonies and events. We discern that these religious events are crucial to Indian members of our society to provide an inclusive space, as well as to better be accepted by our non-Indian community as well. We hope that you will take into consideration the benefits the Hindu Pratna Samaj have to our community and will aid us grow and succeed moving forward. We appreciate your time and are hoping for further conversation regarding our concerns. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Did you have anything to add that you would like to?
So I have numbers that in 2017 we had $1,100 or something amount for 3 days. 2018 we had 1,200 or something. 2019 we had only 900 and something amount we paid. So do last year, 21 and 2020 and 2021, due to COVID, we never did this event because of the restrictions. And again, last year, 2022, we did 3 days, and that time we paid only $986 something. But then they gave me next invoice extra saying 300 and something. But then I did application to council members and approved for waiving those $300 something. So technically, we paid only 986 for 3 days. But then this year, it's $5,600 for 4 days. And one more thing, in my application for the waiving, it was not full waiving. I never asked for the full waiver of the whole rent. I just asked if something we can get like the special rates, so that, you know, going forward all the years, we can do our religious events throughout, like through in TRCC every year.
When you say you're a nonprofit, is that a registered nonprofit? Are you
Yes.
registered with the government?
Registered since last 40 years, yes.
Thank you. Is there any comments, clarifying questions? Councilor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Somehow I think this is kind of misunderstanding from this request, because we've been getting the information is about waiving. I don't think they're asking for waiving, right?
No, we are not asking for waiving the whole rent. We are all asking is to make a special rate for us with like the small amount, which we are paying already since years, for continue all the years. That's all we ask. We never ask for the full waiver of the amount.
And also, sorry, Madam, can I continue? So does that mean if I want to attend the event, I can able to attend, do I forced to pay?
No, you know, last year, Colin, was there, did I ask you to pay anything? Nobody did. I think this year I invited few council members. I never asked them to pay. Also, our community, like this year, approximate amount, I can say 50% of our community people never paid nothing. But they came, they ate, they paid nothing. Because this is totally our organization is non-profit organization, but we always ask everyone in our community to contribute little bit, so that we can give them proper food, we can pay the rent, whatever the rent is, we can pay for the sound, music, or decorations. Those amounts we have to bear, right? So that's why we ask our community member to contribute whatever they can, but not compulsory, like they are not required to pay, but we request them to pay. And I think this year, 85% of our community members donated, like contributed, but not the other 50%. But still, all 100% people were there. So does all the members we invited, and few business owners we invited. So do our colleagues we invite, which are not from our community. They come, they never pay. They come, they enjoy, they pray with us.
That's right. Is there any reason why you're asking for $40?
Okay, so what happens is every year there was no amount to like contribute, you know, not compulsory this amount or this amount. So what was happening is every year, say, for example, my family, I have 5 members, right? Me, my wife, my daughter, and then my parents. So everyone were giving $100 per family. So now the problem were coming, say if someone is single in the family, they have no wife, no parents, nothing. Still they have to pay $100, right? So that was not fair. So then, you know, questions were coming from our community saying, hey, can we not put the amount as per person, something like that? So that, you know, it's fair for everyone. Because if someone has only 2 people, the couple only, and if they have to give $100, and then my family, I have 7 members, still I have to give only $100, which is not fair, you know what I mean? So then this year, we always do the pre-meetings before the event, 2 meetings. So in those 2 meetings, us like suggested saying, hey, these questions are coming from all the community members saying that it's not fair to give equal amounts per family member. So what we should do? So then we came up and made a plan saying, okay, first day food maybe cost this amount, second day food will cost us this amount, approximate, decoration will cost. So we came up with the amount that this will cost us, right? So then we divided by the person. So then we came up with a plan saying $40 should be fine per person if we can contribute. Say if everyone is not contributing at the end of the event, when we do all the calculation, we will, as a committee member, we have 11 committee members. We will add all those money which is, you know, short. So that was a discussion. So that's where $40 came up, because that's what the amount we decided in meeting, that should be enough for per person to have prayer, to have our decoration, to rent, and food for everyone for 4 days.
Okay. Thank you, madam.
So that was the $40 came up. It's not compulsory. It was requested to give per person. If someone don't, still they are more than welcome to come and pray. There's no problem.
Thank you. Any other councilors? Comment? Councilor Valentin, Deputy
Yes,
Mayor
Thank
Valentin.
you for your letter. So I just want to get this straight. So There's a fee to attend if you want to pay the fee.
What's that, sorry?
There is a fee to come to this of $40 a person.
Yeah.
To attend.
But it's not fee, it's,
It's
we
40.
requested our community to donate per person as $40.
$40.
If they can, if they don't, there's no problem, they still can come, since years everybody coming and praying and eating.
Right.
Whether they are giving that donation or not, that doesn't matter.
Okay, so, but there, it is, you based it on $40 a
Yes.
person to attend.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your ask? Because we don't have special rates, like we have, like the special event status. What's your ask? Like, I need clarification on exactly what the ask is of council.
So, as I explained, all these years, we were paying not more than $1,200 for 3 days in TRCC. This year, they charge me $5,600 for 4 days event. That's something confusing, very, very confusing, and that's too much for us as a non-profit organization. That's all I'm asking, to give me a special rate every year, so that we can do these events every year. Because this is not something, we are not getting fund from someone or sponsorship or something. We are just doing as whatever our community is contributing, whether they are contributing or not at the end of the day.
Okay, so with this event happening every year,
Yes.
is it getting, and especially with your community getting bigger every year, is the event growing? Do you have more requests for more space, table, chairs, time?
No, this year I requested a little bit more tables and chairs, and that's it. But I think this number would be the same every year, for sure.
Okay,
And community members growing, you are saying, which is right, but then the same amount of community member are moving from Thompson as well. So my community, we had 5 years ago, we had 99 families, right now it's 111, that's it. So then that the amount of newcomers coming, the same amount of people are moving as well, every year.
Okay, thank you. I neglected to mention, we have Councilor Oberdorfer on Zoom tonight,
No.
and she does have a question.
Okay,
Councilor Oberdorfer?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just trying to understand, I guess, the differences in the, like, why the fee structure is such a drastic change from previous to 5,600 versus the 100. Do we have an explanation for that?
They've actually, I spoke with the facility coordinator and kind of compared the facility request from last year versus this year. There was double the amount of chairs, so it was 100 last year, it was 200 this year. The same thing for tables, so everything was double for tables and chairs from last year. And I did look at the facility request, so that is written down in their handwriting of what they wanted. They were also told there were bookings that were taking place during the 3-day event in October that were booked previous. And they had wanted to leave their items in the gym. And they were told, well, if you want to leave your items in there, we have to cancel these other bookings. So there would be an additional charge if you want to come in early to decorate, which they did. They came in early on the Friday to decorate. They left their items in the gym that night. So therefore the gym was not available. We had to cancel our bookings that we had in there for track and basketball. We had Special Olympics was booked. There's a couple of different events that were booked in there. So those things had to be canceled. There was also the setup and takedown fees were put in there. We had extra staff that had to come in. Last year, there was quite a bit of cleanup after the event last year, and the custodial staff or the facility manager made a note that if this event takes place again the following year, we're going to need additional staff. And that was related to the organization through the facility coordinator in emails this year. So those conversations all did take place prior to. And then there was the additional day. So the hours did increase. They may have not been physically there, their activities may not have been taking place, but they were there earlier decorating. So that was an additional charge. And then the setup and takedown fees, those were additional charges. I believe on the 12th though, they were not quoted the setup fee. The chairs and tables were left there for them to do on their own. And I know that they were, our staff were asked to put the chairs and tables out for them, but we didn't, because that was not quoted in their fee. Our staff were, we didn't bring in extra staff to help with that. So we didn't put the chairs and tables down that day. So if you compare the two, that's why, it's because the extra stuff that were put into it and the additional staff that were required to come in, whereas last year we didn't have that additional staff that came in to do the cleanup, but they were cleaning up for quite a few hours in additional staff that they brought in last year through the facility manager to clean up the items. So that would show for the additional costs. We do have a breakdown of it. I do have copies of the facility request and the email between the organization and the coordinator. So I just don't have them here for you today, but I do have all that information.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Oberdorfer, did that answer your questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a follow-up question. So, and I know it's in the fees and fine schedule, so my apologies, but so we charge a rental fee for the facility, but then we also charge a setup and takedown fee on top of the rental charge, is what I'm hearing?
Yes,
It's not included in the rental?
No, there's an hourly rental to rent the gym itself. And then the tables and chairs, and if you want us or the facility to put up the tables and chairs and lay out the tables, put the chairs down, there's a fee for that. But if we leave the chairs and tables and you can put them wherever you want, there's no fee for that. And those chairs and tables in the lobby area were put up, I think, 2 or 3 times, so they were up and down because it was in the lobby area. So but there was no charge for that. That wasn't, I don't think that one was accounted for in that. Again, I don't have the invoice here, but I don't think that charge was put on their invoice.
Thank you. Okay, Councilor Oberdorfer. I'm going to go to Councilor Colburn next. Sorry.
Dark, my question. Did you get a letter? Or did you get a letter? Or did you get any notification that the rent was going up?
Letter from what?
From the city about the rent going up?
No,
No letter, no nothing, just were you told?
Yeah.
Were you told over the phone or something?
no,
No, nothing?
no.
When you went in to rent it, you said, okay, you're being charged this much.
Yeah, I just got invoice straight.
I just listened to the director, and she said was 100 last year. And this year is 200. Last year it cost them $1,200. This year it cost them $50. So we're asking them to pay $4,700 just to double the work. That's what's being happened, right?
Yeah, and also I have.
And one extra day,
Yeah,
right?
can I ask some?
No, just hang on,
something?
you'll get.
So the way the process works, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone who comes to rent the facility is given a quote. And then if that quote is agreed to, then the facility is rented. Is that how it works, or?
No, there's a facility request they would fill out indicating of what they would need for that timeline. And then there was an email transfer, there's a lot of phone call conversation and emails between the two parties. So the facility coordinator would have told them what those costs were, that there was additional staff that were going to be brought in on overtime, and they would be responsible for that. They were told that there was additional hours, again, that we would have to cancel things. And they said, yes, please go ahead and book accordingly is what was said in those emails. There was never how much is this going to cost. We just was told that there is going to be extra fees, and the facility coordinator was advised to please go ahead and book.
Councilor Colburn, your follow-up?
Yes. Well, I can see with more people and this and that, right? But how much work is it just to double it? You're charging $1,200 for that. How much work is it double? The double it should be about $2,400, wouldn't you say? Right? Well, to be fair, Aaron, I can't see, why we're charging our people like this. And no questions. No answers.
Thank you. Anthony.
Yeah, so the quoting of any of the fees or whatever the costs are would be per the fees and fines. So the department's required to follow whatever the fees and fines are. That's how the quote would have been developed.
Okay, no, quick question. If that's the way, how come they come up with one last year at $1,200?
Well, I think that's what was explained is there was a different request last year and the way
Yes.
these fines work.
And this
So
year,
if council wants that, we can be brought back as a package.
well, this year, the only different request is they want one more day and they're gonna double. Where's the reason?
So again, I think if council's making that request, we can bring that information back, but
Yeah,
this
we
is probably
can,
not the
we can
time.
find the information that was given and come back
Right.
before. Because this is only committee of the whole, we're here to listen tonight and then make some clarifications later. Any other questions for the Councilor John?
Yes, my question is, you have 12 events, right?
Yes,
I mean, one event, almost like one event per month, correct?
yeah, yeah.
So one event per month, so every event take 4 days or 3 days?
No, every event take 1 day, but this is the only event
But-
take 3 days. So this is 2 events combined, 3 days and the 1 day in after 15 days.
Or
So that's how.
it's a special event?
Yes, this is
that
special event we always do at TRCC.
So you are not expected this $5,600 for 4 days?
No,
You never expect?
no, not at all.
And like you have no earlier notification
No,
about
no,
that in your cost?
no,
Okay.
no.
Mhm.
Well, thank
So
you.
It is a big change
I think we need to,
look at it.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Councilor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I do have a question about the difference.
Okay.
Based on the director explained just now about the difference. So they say because you guys asking to leave the staff there
Yeah.
for the 3 days
Yeah,
event,
yeah.
that's why they have to cancel the booking.
Yeah.
So two questions. Number one, is that same the last year or different?
Every year we leave that decoration there. This is not the first year I'm leaving. That's what I was gonna say, like when I raise my hand. The decoration we do center in the hall, that's we leave every year. This is not the first year I'm leaving that decoration behind.
Okay, second second part of the question.
Yeah.
Is not to you, to the director, even though hypothetically I accept your reason. So which group that you cancel that caused all this? Any group that booked for that 3 days? And because of their leave the staff over there, so you need to cancel them to accommodate this group. Do you have any group that you can mention to us that you cancel it? Who you did?
Anthony?
Yeah, I think the director's answered that already. She said that there were Special Olympics and a few others, but again, if council wants a package of
I need to know
information,
that information, did that really happen?
that's what I'm saying. If council wants to know that information, we can put that together and bring it to council.
Okay, thank you.
Quick question, when is this event planned for?
What's this?
What date is the event planned for?
This year is was 21st and 22nd October, 3 days dance event, religious dance.
Next October.
Next, yeah, it's gonna be either end of the September or in mid-October. That's the fixed time every year.
Thank you. How far in advance do you usually book? Do you start booking?
3 months or 4 months, I think.
Thank you very much. Councilor Fitzpatrick?
Yeah, I just got a comment here. I don't think it's right that you accuse her of making up.
That's not accused, it's.
Yeah,
Okay,
what's accusing?
Excuse me.
You said if it really happened. If she says she canceled somebody, she canceled somebody.
Not for the
I trust
discussion
if I
here.
haven't verified.
Okay,
Is it okay?
thank you,
No,
Deputy,
it's
for
not.
your presentation. We'll definitely be discussing, get the information that the councilors have requested,
Okay,
and we'll move forward from there. You'll be hearing from.
okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Next, we're gonna go to community comments and feedback. Do we have any community comments or feedback?
Ron Matachuk, 20 Ave Street. I believe it's 8.1 on the agenda tonight. And it was first brought forward at the last meeting I watched on Facebook, and you were discussing the trigger amount for the snow policy was going to be, or was first planned at 20 centimeters. And Councilor Wong had mentioned it should be at 10 centimeters, and that's the reason why it was tabled. And I'll give a couple of reasons why it should be at 10 centimeters as opposed to 20. First of all, your machines are gonna be out there working a lot easier. They're not gonna have the heavy cutting and such. And not only that, going out twice so often, half the time in Thompson, you're driving in a trough. The streets are a trough, and if you dare to go a little to the side, it's gonna bring you back into this trough. And that would give them the opportunity to cut that down when they're dealing with lesser amounts of snow, instead of having that machine doing all it can do, taking out curbs and whatever else, because it's gonna take the path of least resistance. And if it's harder to cut the hard packed snow than it is to take out the curb's gonna go. A lot of horsepower in them machines.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Any other community comments, feedback? Third and final time, any more community comments or feedback? Thank you very much, Mr. Matchuk. Seeing no more comments, we'll move on. Next, we're gonna go into reports, development technical services report. Mr. Soprano.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My report is attached for information. Just a couple of highlights. So road renewal, our construction work is all finished as we go for the year. We're busy working on 24-25 design right now. With regards to cost, I do have an update to the table after I submitted my memo. I did get our annual invoice from AECOM, which is our resident service and design engineer. So that brings our total cost invoice to date up to 7.96 million, so just a little shy of 8 million, which represents 20% of the total 40 million. If you look at it from the total roads completed, we've completed 5.1 kilometers, which is 25% of the 20 kilometers we need to finish. So from a spent 20% and completed 25%, we're doing okay right now. We do have some heavier roads coming up in the future, so we're in a good position there. Water and waste water renewal, again, we are working on our 2024 project right now, which is tendering of phase 3 and phase 4, which is basically in the Centennial East, Centennial West area. We haven't received any of our invoices from the Manitoba Water Services Board. The council remembers everything funnels through Manitoba Water Services Board. All of the engineering, all of the construction invoices funnel through Manitoba Water Services Board, and then we receive one invoice from Water Services Board. I've been told it should be here any day now, so I'll keep you updated. From the facility perspective, our level 3 charger is now fully functional in operation. Its location and cost is visible via the Flow EV charging website. We have received a no parking sign, and we're going to be putting it up in the coming weeks. Our geotech evaluation for City Hall and Gordon Beard Arena is currently postponed. We were supposed to do some drilling in the latter part of November, but that was postponed until spring, and will be conducted at the same time as the GB. Our building envelope study for the public safety building, we've got the draft. We are currently reviewing it to get comments back to the consultant. And then finally, with regards to facility, some really good news. Our facility manager, Stephen Allen, dug into something back in August. There was an email that was sent out from Efficiency Manitoba about an arena lighting grant. Basically, the province had given Efficiency Manitoba, I can't remember how many millions of dollars for communities to apply. So Stephen worked with Efficiency Manitoba on the CA Nesbitt Arena, and very happy to report that we got confirmation about 2 weeks ago that we are successful in the amount of $109,600. What this covers is 100% of the labor and material cost to convert the CA Nesbitt and the Bill Kamaski Wellness Center, which is the gymnasium, from our current lighting scheme to LED. So this work will be planned this summer, and with all those LEDs replacing those conventional lighting, we will see a positive impact on our hydro bill in the coming years. Question you might ask is, what about the Gordon Beard? The Gordon Beard was actually converted to LED a few years ago as part of grant money. I believe it was from Winter Games, if I'm not mistaken. So that's already in LEDs. From a development perspective, we have one option to purchase currently in place. We did issue one permit in November. It was a demo permit for the value of $114,000. Year to date, we've got 75 permits to date with a total construction value of $28 million. And our incoming fees from permits is, I think, just a shade over $250,000. That's on the following page. So Danny was really hoping to break 100 permits this year, but looks like we're probably going to end the year around 80. We still got December to go, and I know we got one permit today, and I think he's got one permit coming. So we'll see what what December brings. So the year-to-year comparison is there for your information. That's my report for tonight.
Thank you very much. That year to year is very, very close, so
They are.
it's,
Yeah.
definitely. Questions, Councilor Colbert?
Yes, I want to ask about the road construction, or the water construction. We spent $7,700,000 so far, at 19% of the money that we got, right? Is last, okay, I know 2022's carried over into 23's, which are complete. Is 2023 totally complete?
No. So as you recall from my past memos, we did not finish the part of Thompson Drive and Juniper that was scheduled as 2023. That is outstanding. So again, those distances are not counted in my distances. Those amounts aren't counted in my amounts. Had we finished both of those, we would be somewhere almost close to 7 kilometers completed.
So this is what you're telling me, or my last question, Your Honor. Did the people doing the construction this year, did they get paid?
They only get paid for what they completed.
So this number here is not the work for this year.
No,
Right.
it was the work completed for this year. It does not
Completed
include
total.
anything that is not completed.
Everything that's been completed
Correct.
totally, right?
Correct. Correct.
So the work they got completed this year is not paid yet, because they're not completely done. Correct? You understand what I'm down and asking?
Well, so how it goes, Counselor, is if they pave 100 meters of road, we pay them for that
For
100
100
meters of
meters
road.
road.
Even though they might have had to do 500, they didn't finish that last 400, so
Yeah.
they have not been paid for that 400 until that asphalt's on the ground.
Yeah, okay, I'm talking about water here though, too, right?
Same principle. Yeah, same principle.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 700 million, just over 700 million we spent. That's not included in this year's road work because they haven't been paid yet because it wasn't complete, right?
They were paid for the portion of the 2023 work package that they completed.
Okay,
So there was some parts of 2023 that they finished.
so how much more do we owe them now for the
I
23 part? Well, we got 2 streets.
We've got Thompson Drive and a portion of Juniper. I don't know that number, Counselor.
Now, is that paving or water?
Paving. That was that 7.9 that I talked about is strictly the road project, not the
Okay.
water.
That's the road,
Yeah.
that's the road.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Thank
You
you.
know, maybe questions down the road, but I'm
Anthony,
okay.
did you have any comments? Okay. And any other comments on Lyle's report?
Sorry, I do have one. I just forgot. Counselor, I believe your last meeting you asked about warranty on that EV charger. I did look it up. We have a 5-year warranty on the EV charging equipment that was assembled at the TRCs.
What about the parts and labor, after that, is that any estimation?
I don't have an estimation beyond that. So all I know right now from the manufacturers, we've got the 5-year warranty coverage. So,
I'm not worried about the warranty period, I worry about after the warranty run out.
okay.
You know what I mean? That will start costing money. What is the price gonna be look like? That's what I need to, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lyle, many positives in your report there. Next, we're going to go over recreation. Sonia?
So for November month, we have some new hoodies at the TRCC now. So we've got a couple of different options in color, and I apologize for my voice. I've had some issues with my voice the last couple of days. I lost it last week, so it's just coming back from low horse. So we have a few different sizes that we've ordered. Some of the larger ones are on back order, the black. So we're hoping that they're gonna be in the next few weeks. Our staff did go through some additional ActiveNet training. With our final training, we contacted them a few months ago. We just needed some additional training because the initial training that we had really didn't, we didn't get out of it what we should have gotten out of it. So we've had 3 additional classes at no cost to the city. Staff really like what kind of came out of it. There's still some things within ActiveNet that doesn't work for us, and what we used to work for us in the old system, but we're just gonna find some ways around it. Our drafting activities continue. and our public skating, things continue as well. We also have ice attendance, this season, which is, helping a lot, I think, for the safety of the people on the ice, as well as, any issues that might happen around, because we don't have security there, so having that ice attendant is definitely an added bonus. So they are there, we have two, and they're there on Saturdays and Sundays. For November, we, the Remembrance Day celebrations took place in the GA, or GB. We had National Child Day, the tree lighting, we skate, we had a lot of activities that took place. The Santa Parade this year was, really successful. We had 25 floats last year, and we had 37 this year, so, it was well attended. I think we had a beautiful day for us, so it, turned out pretty great for everybody. We had making workshop, was sold out. We have, Christmas decorations that are placed around City Hall, outside. The inside, I think, is gonna be finished this week, the TRCC as well. We've got, the Santa mailbox for, excuse me. The Santa mailbox that we've got, located at the TRCC. He partnered with, Canada Post, and they're gonna be picking up the mail, that any children might, put their letters in for Santa. So they're gonna be picking those up on Friday. We also have some lighting, because we are limited with our electrical outlets that we have in the city. We have, Nick G. Virgilio will allow us to put some of our lights in front of, where the wolves are on Mr. Lake Road. So we've got some floodlights that are put up into the trees there. And we've also begun our, arrangements to install the CA lights, the laser lights, and the shot clock and the score clocks in the gymnasium. So we started that process. I met with the Arctic Beverages a couple of weeks ago. And Winterfest meetings are going to be beginning in December. And we've got a few December events that are going to be taking place, which are highlighted here. I'm not going to dock anymore. And so I'm just letting you read and what's on the page. Sorry.
Thank you. Any comments, questions?
Okay, just a comment. Recreation reporter, how come we don't know anything about sports? It's all about leisure things. Which is great, but we still don't get no reports on our minor hockey, nothing like that. That's all, Your Honor.
Anthony.
Yeah, council likes statistics on sports. I'm sure we could have those added to the future reports.
To me, what is recreation?
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, my request for here for the Christmas is like I'm out in the community requesting money so that we can light up Thompson better with the wreaths, with Christmas lights and all this, because everyone is showing on social media how Thompson used to look, and we need to do that again. So I'm out, and right now I have Prince Furniture. That's the only one that's donated. And I'm still out, and I'm going out, and I have a couple of meetings that I do by myself, and it's just part of the fundraising that I'd like to get Thompson to be nice again. That's my plan. Thank you. So if there's any donations.
Thank you. Councilor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I remember last time when the soccer association approached to talk about indoor soccer, maybe we can approach them and see whether they're interested to rent it or not. So that way there's other revenue coming in for the TRCC. Did they ever approach you at all?
There is indoor soccer that takes place. I only report on things that we do as our staff. I don't report on the events that take place like Thompson Minor Hockey, North Stars, the Kings and all those. I mean, the place is busy, so I don't do a report on that. I just report on what we do. We still have drop-in basketball, we have drop-in volleyball, pickleball. We do have those events that take place on a regular basis at the TRCC. So those are really what I do report on. There is drop-in soccer as well, and the soccer, they do rent. They have nets and stuff there that they do rent. I can't remember, there's wrestling that takes place, there's tons of stuff, gymnastics, but I only report on what our staff kind of put on and take care of, but to get stats and different things like Effie had mentioned, if that's something that we can I don't know what kind of stats I can get from their organization, but I definitely can see what they might wanna put out, but I can itemize the different things that kind of take place at the TRCC on a weekly basis, because it's usually the same user groups that are using the facility.
I just want
Councillor
to continue one more, thank you, Maria. I know there's, I believe the gym from the high school is under renovation right now. And this time of the year, we always have a badminton association start, so maybe there's another event you can attack to use our TRCC for that.
Yeah, the badminton, I believe the badminton volleyball, it's just because our gymnasium is used so much for gymnastics and wrestling, like they really don't have any other place to be able to go to hold their activities. So I can't remember the days of the week, but I think 3 days of the week, that area is used. Friday, nobody really wants to do a lot of things on the Friday because it's the weekend. So they do use the gyms in the elementary schools for volleyball and a few things. I believe it's the gym,
Badminton is Tuesday and Thursday.
there's wrestling on a couple of other days, so.
No, just a
it is-
suggestion.
Yeah.
As long as you cover all that, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Councillor Overdorfer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question, I guess, is more for administration in terms of if we are asking for statistics around all of the sports groups that rent the facility from us. Like how much, I guess, administration is that going to be in terms of their workload, and what work is that going to be kind of pulling them away from if we're asking that? I think it would be something that is nice to have, but I guess I'm just wondering in terms of our priorities and what work we require our staff to do, is it something that they have the time to do, I guess, and exactly as I said, is what work is going to be impacted if we are asking for that. That's just where my mind goes to, because I don't imagine it's easy to collect that information. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor, Mr. Sifron first.
Just maybe to somewhat answer your question, Councillor Overdorfer and for council. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, the city has now made available the calendars for activities in the TRCC. I believe our communications director may have sent it to all the city councilors, and if not, we can send it out. So you can go on there at any given time and see how busy the rooms, the gym and the ice are booked. And what you'll see is that pretty much 4 of the 5 days a week from about 4 o'clock until 10 o'clock, we're booked solid in the gym and on the ice. So that's, anybody can go in and see that. And the purpose of that is, if you're wanting to rent ice time, you can go on the calendar and see when there's ice time, or go on the calendar and see when the multi-purpose room is available, or the very fancy room, or whatever, and then contact the rec department to book. Say, oh, I see a free time at 2 o'clock on Saturday in the Gordon Beer, I'd like to book that for an hour. Perfect, so that's available to anybody, and if you need the link, I'm sure our communications director can send that.
Thank you. You just answered my comment that I thought that was available, so thank you. Next, Deputy Mayor Valentino.
Thank you, Mayor Smith. Thanks, Lau. I was just gonna say that council can go online and see what sports are there. It's December 1st. All the sports have been up and running for a couple of months. Badminton started in September. They're using the school district things because the gym at Artie Park is down. So everybody's up and running, and our TRCC is full for the use of the gymnasium. No sports are out, not being able to use the location. Everybody's worked together this year, especially with the rentals at the school. I've had lots of positive comments. First of all, the parade, the city having 1 now to 3 floats. So thank you to city employees that were a part of that. And I've had lots of positive comments about the lobby of the TRCC and how it's decorated. So kudos to the recreation staff for doing that, because it's been noticeable on social media and people commenting to me in person. So thank you for that. Thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Chong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question is something about the senior Christmas party on December 12th. Is that a city organized event or private event?
It is a private event. They're doing it themselves. We are donating the use of the gym and the tables for them.
So how a person get invited, like a senior?
Through Penny Meyer is the person that's organizing it. So it's open to anybody. I think they're expecting around 100 people. So it's open to anybody at all. It is a free event. So it's gonna be, they're gonna be doing some things in the lobby as well as some things in the gym. I believe they have, Smitty's gonna be there. There's gonna be some live entertainment. So the seniors are really looking to it. But anybody can.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yeah, and just to bring some context to that, when I became mayor 5 years ago, I sponsored the dessert and stuff that they have. So I personally, it doesn't go to the city coffers. Last year, a couple of you gave me a donation toward it afterwards, but technically, I'm the one on my own that brings the snacks and dainties to the people and the coffee and that. So, Councillor Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Mayor. Just, comment on, Councillor Chong. Don't you remember we were all there last year? They had us sending Christmas cards?
Yeah, we did, that's why I like to know a little more, right? People ask me, how do I know you?
We'll practice our singing for that.
Karaoke.
One more quick question.
Yeah.
You're talking about drop-in basketball and stuff like that. Is there a fee for that?
There's a $3 fee for drop-in basketball. And pickleball and volleyball and you can do soccer as well. So it's a
$3 a head.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I've heard nothing but great things about the drop-in stuff. It's something that's affordable and open to anybody. And if you can go 1 week and can't go the next, then it's not like being on a team where you have to commit yourself to every week. And also again, like Deputy Mayor, I have heard, great compliments about the parade and about the decorations around town, so, and in front of City Hall. Thank you. Okay, anything else on the recreation report? Yes. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Does this senior party represent the Maui town? Different, it's different, yeah.
Another quick question, you brought it up. Okay, the Christmas stuff and everything is all good. People are talking about it and everything. Do the people know how much it costs?
For
I don't know. For the bill, for the put it all up and this and that, what's it cost?
what, the Christmas?
The decorations and everything.
It'll be part of our budget process, Anthony.
Yeah, that's something that council budgets and expects the department to do. So my understanding is the previous council had asked for an increase in that, allocated funds to the department to do it, so that's what they do. If the council wants more or less, you either allocate more dollars or you allocate less dollars. And they spend within the dollars that you give them.
Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you. With that, we're gonna move on to Public Works report. I believe Anthony is going to give this report tonight.
Yeah, I'll give this report as the director is off at a family event that had been pre-booked, what to do with Christmas and his kids. So, with respect to street maintenance, the Public Works crews are working on a shift of Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 4:30. And the Standard's been operating on Saturdays from 6 AM to 2 PM. The snow clearing has obviously started, and to date, we've received 24 centimeters of snow as of November 29th. The skid steers are also sent out daily to conduct sidewalk snow clearing. Parks and green space, the Millennium Trail maintenance and snow clearing continues. The outdoor rinks have been flooded. Anticipate the rinks to be open this week. I believe they are open. The director is waiting for users to use the ice a little bit, and then the lines we painted will be reflooded. And the first phase of the cemetery expansion is complete and ready to be topsoiled, seeded and fertilized in the spring. The waste disposal grounds are now operating on the winter schedule. Hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 8 AM to 5:30 PM. The one-stop drop household hazardous waste is all open on Tuesdays and Thursdays and accepts household paints, light bulbs, oils, batteries, and electronic waste. And there is no cost for the disposal of these items for household owners. There's a report attached for the water sewer, October and November reports, and the 5-year water breaks and water sewer breaks. For the water sewer system, the repairs completed, 13 main water mains and valve repairs, 8 water service repairs, 1 force main repair, and the hydrant flushing and draining. Ongoing work is 1 water main repair, 1 service, 1 sewer, 7 storm, 6 hydrants, 2 sewer, 3 manholes, 7 main line, and hydrant markings. Capital projects, the RV dump site panel has been installed, the power line has been installed, and it just needs to be commissioned at this point. Water treatment plant repairs completed, no major issues. Ongoing work, the heaters require inspection repairs, and lead testing for the distribution system is continuing. And for the wastewater plant, the repairs that have been completed are the polymer pump repair, digester valve repair, ERV 2 air dryer installed. The ongoing work is several UV lights to be replaced, ERV 2 line air line winterized, needs to be completed, and basin 1 mixture is seized and it is sent for repairs. That is the director's report.
Thank you. One comment that was made at the mayor's meeting this morning is that our water line repairs and that are finally sort of caught up, so that we're actually working on ones that are happening. We've managed to catch up on them. Councilor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nothing to do with the report, but I did mention a couple of meetings ago about those barricades around town. And it's still there. I just wondering, is there any time frame to take care of the business? And especially the one that Councillor Fitzpatrick mentioned about the Lillian Trail by the French school. They still barricade that. Like, is there any update for that?
Yes, so the one at the French school, Public Works dug that, got down to the line and determined that there was no break on our line. When they traced the source of the water was sourced back to a sump that's connected to the French school. So they're looking to see why it was plumbed that way by the school when it was built. But that source of water had nothing to do with our pipes. It just happened to be accumulating in the same spot. But I believe Neil said this morning in the mayor's meeting that literally the guys were in the hole, had finished the dig, had the pipe in front of them, and there's no leak. The water started coming over their head. They traced it back through a French drain back to the school. So they're looking to see why that was installed that way.
And also the one on Goldeye, at the end of the Goldeye, that's right beside the fire hydrant, is still barricade. I don't know why it's not taken care, that's been quite some time. Another one on the Millennium Trail, that between Giant Tiger towards to Deerwood, where Councillor Coburn lived, there's also another barricade. That's been quite some time. I don't understand why are those barricades around? Is it something need to be repaired, or maybe it's already done? They didn't pick it up. I don't know. So those are the questions I've been asked, so I need to address. Thank you.
We can make sure that we have get the answers for you. Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, Marissa. I just have a question about, is it Public Works, are we doing the Christmas tree pickup after? Because we always get lots of questions on whether we're not picking up trees, and I have to be proactive and communicate at a time instead of first week of January, everybody's phone.
Okay, I'll bring that to the director for a response.
Thank you.
And I would like to give kudos to Public Works and Ian, our communication officer, for the daily reports on where they're working and that. So thank you very much. Councilor Coburn.
With all the water breaks in that, is any of them water breaks in our new area that we got done? I don't see one on Deerwood. I drive down there all day. Right?
Rob.
No, none of them have been on.
No, none in the new areas, right? Good.
I believe there's one connector to do with the force main that might have been done 3 years ago. That might have popped a leak and they're having a look at it to see if it's under warranty.
Well, I see there's some down Westwood area, right? Down on Pickle or Pike, one of them. Was in an email from the public this week.
Those streets are
bottom one down on Middle Westwood. Yeah. Big, right? You know, but like Pike in that wood, right? That we piped into the new pipeline. That's fine. Thank you.
Was it Sturgeon?
Yeah, some
It was, I think you're right, it was on Sturgeon.
Any other comments?
Yeah.
Saying none, let's move on to finance. A memo from the city manager regarding entering into contribution agreement with the controlled entities. Anthony?
Yes, council normally enters annually into funding agreements with multiple controlled entities throughout the city. But for 2 of them, typically council provides funding as of January 1st. That's for the Thompson Recycle Center and the Thompson Public Library, so that they continue their operations. So the administration would request that at the next meeting of council, we bring forward, resolutions so that we can continue funding them until the 2024 financial plan is in place and their funding is, finally approved. If there's any adjustments that need to be made, normally they're funded what the previous year's funding was. If there's any adjustments to be made, those would be made, during the second payment. I'm just looking for a consensus to move forward, the housekeeping item.
Councilor Bowman.
I believe we have more than just two control entities. Is there any reason just only this two? And the rest is not needed, the funding, as this two?
It's typically based on the operating requirements and the payroll that they have to make. So these are the two large ones that have larger operations and require this funding. If the others require funding like that, they've never gone forward requesting that. So if they wanted to, they could, but these are the two that we bring forth as administration.
Okay, Jonathan. Councilor Colbert.
Okay, this is just a payment from our last budget, right?
No, this would come out of next year's budget.
And they want it early.
No,
But
it's-
their budget goes from the beginning of the year though, right?
That's correct. And this is council's normal practice, is that you forward them some of the money. Once you have the approval in place with your financial plan, then you make an adjustment based on the next payments. So you either adjust it up or you adjust it down, what they get for the year.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Seeing no more questions, we'll move on to safety. A memo from the safety manager in regards to 2024 City of Thompson emergency plan.
Now, this is a housekeeping item. The city of Thompson has its emergency plan. It's updated annually and throughout the year. It needs to be approved by resolution once a year before the emergency measures organization for the end of the year. So the request from the safety officer is to bring this forth for approval at the next meeting of council, with the understanding that it's a living document and it can be updated throughout the year. So just looking for consensus to move it forth for resolution.
Thank you.
I'm okay with it.
By show of hands, who's okay to move this forward? And I guess we didn't really do a show of hands for the last one, to be clear,
That's good.
so that we can move the entities forward.
Yes, I'm okay with
A
it.
show of hands? Okay, thank you. It's okay for both of us. And I just want to say, reading our emergency plan, it was great to see most of the names and numbers were all upgraded this year already. So thanks to Lawrence for working hard on that and any other staff that is helping. Next, number 9, Public Works, 9.1 is a review of the snow clearing and cleanup operation policy. Who wants to take this?
Yeah, at the last committee of the whole, the snow clearing policy was reviewed by council to the committee of the whole. There's several changes recommended to the maps. That was then through consensus forwarded to council for resolution at the last meeting of council. At the last meeting of council, some additional proposed changes came up, and it was therefore tabled to come back to committee of the whole for further discussion. So this is council's opportunity to have your further discussion and then make whatever recommendations to change that the administration would make, and then move it forward for resolution or to another committee of the whole.
Wishes to begin?
I want to have. What are the changes compared this year to last year?
So those were reviewed at the last committee of the whole. It was really the changes to the priority maps. So previous to that, the changes were to the temperatures the previous year, and then this year were the changes to the mapping for priority 2s, I believe. That would have been in the last package at the last committee of the whole meeting.
But didn't we, can I continue? But didn't that package go to council and we tabled it, or did we table in the committee though? I can't remember.
It would have come to the committee of the whole, and then committee of the whole made its reviews, made the recommended changes, and recommended it forth for a resolution at the meeting of council. So it's been before council twice.
I seen one change from this year to last year, one change. And it was the new streets into our phase 2 from whatever phase it was after. The street now is planned for our phase 2, right? Now, places like Hillside, other places. No consideration to move them up to the second one.
Anthony?
Yeah, it's council's direction, so if a councillor wanted Hillside to be brought forward, that's council's responsibility to bring that forward. The administration adds it or doesn't add it based on consensus, so it's not the administration making the changes, it's council, because it's council's policy.
And council's always asked to get their changes or concerns in by a certain date, and if administration sees no changes, nothing comes forward to them, then it remains the same as the year before. If nothing comes in, if you don't send in your changes.
So I believe it was circulated to council, whatever changes were recommended were brought forth. Those were reviewed at the committee of the whole and then recommended forward by consensus in the last meeting, which was then tabled at that time.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Valentine.
Thanks, Ms. Smook. Yeah, so just to clarify a process on this, we actually first discussed this as a council January of 2023. And I chaired that committee and I explained that 3 weeks ago when I chaired this again, that it was Councillor Fitzpatrick and Councillor McIver who followed process to bring forward concerns with policy. And then we reviewed that at committee of the whole, I think it was 2 weeks ago when I chaired it. And we discussed the changes. Councillor Chung needed clarification on the being able to see the map properly. And Councillor Fitzpatrick was fine with the changes and we explained Councillor McIver's request was going to budget. So process was already followed and we had consensus 3 weeks ago after we've already reviewed it twice. So we're just a little, I guess, confused on the process and that we're bringing this back again, I guess. I mean, with the consensus, it was bringing it to council so that we give direction to administration so that we do have a new map. But right now with the old policy, now we don't have these streets on there because we never passed the policy. So we did follow the process to get this to council, so at least we can give administration some direction. We can continue talking about this through the winter or another committee of the whole, but ideally it would be nice to have consensus to get this passed with the changes so that they can start working under the new policy, which means the new map, and so that the concerns from Councillor McIver would budget, because otherwise we're just at standstill again for another year discussing still clear new policy.
Thanks. Anyone else? Councillor Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Deputy Mayor mentioned something about the policy, like you have priority 1, priority 2, everything look good. But the problem is who monitor the process. For example, and like the road going to T3 and the plow just go right down to the train station and the rest of the priority 2 didn't even complete. So who is going to follow and monitor this process?
It's up to the department to follow through, and then if you're noticing that things aren't being done, then please bring it to my attention. And I can follow up why, because it's council's policy. It's supposed to be followed how it's written by council. So if it's not being followed how it's written, then I have to follow up.
So it's important.
If you're seeing something that you believe it's not being called, and I believe I spoke with the councillor today who had concerns on another area, which I'll be bringing forward to the department.
Thank you.
Councillor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, I appreciate your effort to bring that forward to try to resolve this. So far, I think the policy is the same, it's not new. The only thing is added is the map. So I remember that time when the council, Fitzpatrick mentioned about his street is not even on the map. So that changes. But what is, I don't understand this. All of a sudden, the name is listed on the map, but all of a sudden become a priority 2. So why only pick one street added to priority 2, not the other street? So I try to look at the map. There's a priority 1 go by that area. So attached to that, they branch it off. So maybe that's why they decide to put a priority 2 on that reason. But I also look at my area. I have a priority 1 go to my area as well. And my street is branched off from priority 1. And my street is not added to the priority 2. So I don't think Fitzpatrick, Councillor Fitzpatrick asking for change it to priority. All he asking is, the name is not even on the map. So administration agreed to add it there. But all of a sudden become extra effort on top of it. So And also back to the Councillor Chong about that, priority two. My street, on Wednesday, they came by and cleaned all the way from the train track to the train station. That's priority two. But the rest is all priority two. I don't know why. I've been mentioned so many times, they turn around and walk away. And to today, still not clean. So I keep asking about that question. And also I mentioned a lot of time about my question and never been addressed to a change. I asked them to change the time of plowing. Instead of morning, do it at nighttime, you can get a lot of things done. That never been mentioned, never been changed. Number two, the priority two, you put it there. I didn't ask for priority two. But why is not complete? So I want to have a practical. I also asked, I say, I don't want to argue about here. I want to have a private meeting with the operator and the director so we can understand what is doable, what is not doable. That way we all have a bigger picture, better picture to talk about it. When you talk about snow clearing, I think I'm most qualified in this room to talk about it than anybody else. So anyway, but my thing is not mentioned at all.
Put your things in
I don't
writing.
need to put, I'm talking about it.
No, you need to put your things in writing so they come to everybody.
Same as
It
Council
saves you the
Fitzpatrick is
process.
talking about, but they change it right away.
Anyway,
Is there
I think
favoritism?
you had your hand up.
Yeah, so the changes are made here by council. That's what was brought to the last committee of the whole. So it's not a surprise that the change was made. It was brought to the committee of the whole. You as a council discussed it and you made the change. It's not that we made a change as administration. We changed it because you told us to by consensus. And then you told us to bring it to a resolution of council. So that's what's done. In terms of the operating, I'll have to follow up on why those two streets weren't done. But in terms of the timing, that's left up to the direct discretion of the director. But if you want to change it, if you want to make the timing part of the policy, then you do that as part of this process. So that's another debate of council where you direct us. So if you want to talk about changes the time, you put that into your policy or you leave it to the director, they'll determine. So that's really what it is. We're just, the department's just following the policy. And if there's something not being cleared, then I have to go and find out why.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
Thanks, President. Just from when this was on again, and reviewed the notes when I was chairing it. The last time I chaired this, there was no concerns. There was no mention of times or anything. It was just the map. Everybody was good with the policy and it came forward for last week. So that never ever happened. And in my notes, based on the concerns of the map and adding the streets, there is only one access in and out of that area. So the mention of safety and being able to get in and out of that area was the reasoning for the priority two. Those were in the notes and discussed twice at committee of the whole about this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fitzpatrick, I
Thank
think you're
you,
next, and then Councillor Overlord.
In response to Councillor Wong, the reason I have requested that this street be added in is because when it does blow and snow, this street packs in hard and heavy. The way the tree line is, I don't know why, the way it's laid out. The snow all packs in the whole street, and it just, to me, it's no different than Wacusco. It's our only way up and down the hill. There are no sidewalks in this neighborhood. We do have a lot of people walking in this particular neighborhood, and it is a safety issue.
Thank you. Councillor Overlord?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just had a question regarding Councillor Wong's comment about the nighttime snow clearing, and I'm assuming that would have to be a budget conversation, because we don't have, do we have overnight staff right now? Like, and just in regards to like what the cost implications would be, staffing implications, that type of thing, if we were to look at changing to overnight. I don't know if it's something that we have the ability to add right now, because we would need to talk about the budgetary impacts to that. So that's just like, I guess, kind of a clarification that I'm looking for.
Yeah, currently the director has the ability to choose the hours of work. So that's been left up to the director's discretion. And I know the director in the past has run evening shifts, has run weekend shifts, just depending on what he determines the operational needs are. If council wants to set something as something set in stone, there may or may not be budget implications. That could be a further discussion, but I couldn't say for sure that it'll definitely cost more money. Maybe it won't. But if that's a discussion council wants to have, we would set that up as something separate, and you could determine if you want to put it as part of the policy or if you want to leave it as discretion of the director.
Thank you. Councillor Wong?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Two more things from the policy I'd like to see changes. Just like earlier when Mr. Madachak mentioned, instead of 20 centimeter, reduce to 10. Okay. Another one is about 6 to 5 days to complete the job. That's unacceptable. Let me give you a scenario. Mathematics is the best thing to do. A grader, the best speed is 3 kilometers to 5 kilometers per hour to do the job. So you have 3 grader in Thompson, we own. So based on the time for 8-hour shift, even you minus 1.5 hours for break, which is coffee break and the lunch, you still have a significant amount of time to finish the job. So with 3 grader, you can finish almost 60 plus kilometers of the street based on one shift. So the second shift is only a little bit left to finish it. So 6 to 5 days, unacceptable. That gotta be restructured. Period. There's no exception. This is all the mathematics. Unless it's something I don't understand, why we have 3 grader and we don't have operator? Right? So those are the things, it's administration job to take care of it. My job, I think that's a problem.
And I think that's another
Thank you.
discussion we have as to, you know, how many graders are available time also.
Why is it not available? You have 3.
Anthony?
Yeah, and I believe this was discussed at the last committee of the whole as well, that if council wants to set their levels of service. So I believe at that committee meeting, we had a discussion on level of service. Council at the time determined that they didn't want to set a time. But if council does want to discuss levels of service and set service times, then we indicated that the administration could work out what the implications are. And then council could make that part of their policy. So that was part of the previous discussion as well. There was no direction given to us to set a time in that. So there's no time added to the policy.
Thank you. Councillor Colburn?
I agree with Councillor Fitzpatrick about roads in priority 3 and 4 are not bearable. But see, the thing is that I can't get. We got 3 graders, numbers of loaders, and they go up for priority 1, complete it, priority 2, complete it. But then it snows. Then what do? They take all 3 machines and everything and go back to priority 1. What happens with priority 3 and priority 4? Right? I know for sure, I lived on Hemlock for years. And I seen the street there go above the sidewalk, right at the corner there. I laugh lots, right? But that's not good for this community, stuff like that.
Okay, so,
Right.
Thank you. Anthony?
Again, so that's literally what it says to do in the policy. So that's council's job. If you want to change the policy, make the changes that you want and bring them forth. Council determines and then you tell us. And then you pass it by resolution. So that's council's decision.
We make a lot of our decisions based on what the administration gives us, right? We base that, right? And then we can't do a little common courtesy for the people in priority 4 to do their streets a little more in the year and not, you know, that's never brought to us.
It's definitely part of our policy, sir, and for them having to go back. Basically, if we want to keep the 3s and 4s up, like we do the 1s and 2s, that'll require more equipment, more manpower, and again, another budget discussion. So, from the Councillor Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Mayor. I can definitely see some merit in what Councillor Wong was saying. I mean, yeah, it makes more sense to clear the snow with 10 centimeters. I mean, it's just easier on the equipment, absolutely. Yeah, I'm probably we're short on operators, but, and also what Councillor Colburn is saying, there's merit. I mean, some streets don't get cleaned at all during the year, but I think it's just a matter of the supervisor saying that instead of clearing the slate, just wipe out the streets that are done, and when he's done the main roads, go back to that area and finish off those streets. That's what I think solves a lot of the problems.
Thank you, Anthony. Oh, Councillor Overdorfer?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just going to say, in reviewing snow clearing policies in other areas of the province, 5 to 13 centimeters kind of seems to be sort of common in terms of when snow clearing starts. So I think I would definitely be in support of discussing changing it to 10 centimeters when we have our budget conversations and see what the implications of that are, and if that's something that we're able to consider. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm hearing lots of comments on things council wants to look at and change. My recommendation is that council has a look at the policy again, put together your recommended changes and bring it back to a debate. So come prepared with the information that you want changed. Then if you submit it to us ahead of time, we can share it out first. Then you have an opportunity to look at each other's ideas and then make changes to your policy. And then once we hear what you want to do, we can tell you what the implications are. But yeah, none of this was brought to the last one. That's why you're seeing what you're seeing. We brought forth what you asked us to bring forth. If you want to make a lot of changes, then that's the proper way to do it, so that you're all properly informed and seeing the same information.
And until we bring back these changes or it comes, it is going to stay the policy as it is right now. Until it comes before council, and we won't be just making changes based on what we hear here tonight. It has to come forward to meetings again. Councillor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Appreciate when the manager mentioned about level of service. I may ask you this question. So at this moment, we've been budgeted for years. What kind of budget, what kind of level of service that you guys been budgeted for? So that way we can know if, let's say, that budget is for level 2 or level 2 of the service. So now we know if we want more, how much money that we will pump in, because right now we have no clue what kind of level of service that you are being budgeted for every year. I believe ever since the COVID, we never cut one person off the job. So it's been budgeted for full force. So I don't understand that. I want you to bring it back so you prepare for the next meeting for that kind of question. You say a level of service, agree that, but you have to tell me the budget you've been budgeted for, what kind of level of service is that? So at least I can understand.
So
whether we should go more or go
it's
less.
your budget.
Yeah.
So you budgeted as part of council.
No, this operation.
The level of service is set by your policy. So the policy that's in place, the director figures out on average what it costs to deliver that.
No, don't go that way. You ask for 3 grader, 4 loader. That means you prepare to have certain level of service. For the
Council
office.
sets that.
So we budget the money for you to do it. So now you tell me what level is that? So I need to understand.
The level of service is currently whatever's set in your policy. So that's what they're budgeting. Based on the previous spends, they'll come forth and they say, this is
No,
what
that's
it
all wrong.
really
I want to
costs.
start all over again.
Do you want me to finish or no? If you want to start all over again, that's what I'm recommending you do. I'm saying, come here and say what you want is your level of service. Then the council or the administration will work on saying, this is what the cost difference would be between what you have now versus what you want to see. So that's literally what I've been saying for this entire debate, is that if you want to do that, that's what we'll do. But right now, whatever's budgeted is what council budgets. So it's council that determine how much money goes to road clearing. It's you who determine that, not me or not my administration. You said, this is what we want done. We have what it typically costs to do that. And then that's brought forth and council approves it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Oberdorfer, did you have your hand up again? Okay, thank you. Councillor Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Mayor. There's a lot of ideas being kicked around here, so I think we just need to vote, well, I guess it'll be next week, vote on whatever we got on the slow clearing policy for now, and then we need to work on whatever changes that we want to bring forward after that, I guess.
It is a reminder that 2024 budget is the
It's
year
coming
that we
clear.
are going to be working on next month. So I think we need direction on, are we going to approve what is in this budget now without changes? Who is in favor? Yes, Anthony?
Sorry, I need clarity. Are you going for a consensus to bring forth these small changes that were made at the last
Yes.
committee?
Not me.
No.
Okay, who's in favor of bringing forward the small changes for this season until we change? Who's opposed? And we will be moving it forward.
And then for clarification, is council planning to bring forth all their ideas so that we have this on a future meeting? I guess it'd be the next committee to hold or the one after, with all the information and changes that people want to see.
Yes.
Is that the understanding?
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. Next, we're going to development. A memo from the Director of Development and Technical Services and the Chief Financial Officer in regards to 97 McGill.
Yeah, so good evening again. So 97 McGill, again, my memo's there. Some history of this property. The city obtained this property through tax sale a number of years ago. In 2019, rather, in 2020, there was a council direction to put the building on the market for sale. Unfortunately, that didn't occur. In April 2022, the building suffered not one but two fires, making the building not inhabitable and not structurally sound. So we did work for our insurance company, as if you recall, you passed a resolution earlier on to borrow some money to remove the building and structure. That all has been done. So current situation, the building has completely been removed, the foundation's been removed, the whole of the back room is plain. The property is a little bit bigger in that area. It's about 91 feet by 105 feet. The outstanding taxes remaining on the property that remain on our roll is about almost $24,000. And in July, council approved a transfer of $43,000 from the building reserve to cover the difference between what the insurance payout was and what the cost of the work was. So looking for direction from council as to what they would like to do with this property. With there being no building now and just a property, it can very simply be just added to our land inventory. But again, and this is where the CFO comes into play, we would be looking to put a minimum cost of that property of $67,619.64 to cover both the back taxes owing as well as the money that was taken from our reserve to pay for the remediation. So again, just looking for direction from council as to what their wishes are with regards to this property.
I guess my question on this would be, the 67,600, is that a good price for that lot? Is that a reasonable price, considering the size of the lot, or is it under or overpriced?
So assessment branch, it's there. Assessment branch actually has it, the land assessed at 63.4, so it's higher than what assessments has it. But again, if you're looking to break even, which talking to our CFO, that's kind of what we've been trying to do on some of these properties with regard to back taxes and kind of put into it. That's what we put it. Now, council's direction is different, and we sell it for whatever value you agree on. That's what we would put it in for. But I'm just simply bringing forward the facts as to what's on our books.
Thank you. I think, we would look at it, if it for 67,000, this is gonna sit empty for another 5 years. That might be a question if somebody came up and offered us a reasonable amount, we got a building that we could tax on it. I think that's something this council would be very appreciative in looking at. Deputy Mayor, is it your hand that's up over here?
Thanks, Marissa. I'm fine with this, trying to sell it for 67,000. Can we let the school district know that we're gonna do that? I don't know if they'd have an interest in it. Thank you.
And I mean, just a reminder, council, like, if anyone comes forward with property, the prices that I give them, I always tell them that these are not my decision, these are council has final decision. So I think Mary said, if someone comes forward with an option or with a price, that all would come back to you for consideration. And final decision.
Thank you. Any other council?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe this property was always some back tax at that time, right? Do you recall what was the amount?
Yeah, it's $23,794.64. It's in the memo. So that's included in that 63 that we would be, sorry, in the 67 that we would be requesting.
I already had my 2 cents at that time about this property, but now I think it's way outrageous. It's good luck. Hopefully you can get the 67, but I doubt it. Because recently we just sold 2 lots to other organizations with less than half of this. This is the facts. It's transparent, everybody knows. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, now are we, you would like a decision on whether we.
Well, I think what I've heard tonight is put it out, keep that price in the back, talk to the school division and see what comes forward. So
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think we'll ever get 67,000.
Sounds good, Rob.
It's some build on there.
Next, we're going to recreation, a memo from the Director of Recreation and Community Services in regards to waiving the fees policy.
And let's see if I can do this without coughing up a storm again, so. Last month I brought forward the waiving of fees, policy to amend it as per council's direction. Attached, I have the red line and the, old one. So the main thing in there was to change things to indicate that they are special event, because we do bring forth a lot of things on a monthly basis for different events that require special event status in order for them to take place. I've itemized those in the memo and as well as in the waiving of fees policy itself. I do have, I think we have Remembrance Day, National Indigenous Day, Truth and Reconciliation, Canada Day, Women Fest, Manitoba Trappers Association, or Fur Tables, and Night Performance Movie Relay for Life. And we have the community event, which is the Nickel Days event. Upon thinking about it, I don't know, the Nickel Days event, there's really not fees that they pay. There was in the past, I believe, an agreement between council and Nickel Days. So I know that that agreement was up this past year. So I don't know if we want to keep that in our waiving the fees policy, or if there's going to be another agreement between Nickel Days and the city. And then we have the non-admission events that take place, which are the CHTM trade show and the community artists and crafters small business expo. And then the only 50% waiving, which is further in the agenda for tonight, is the Manitoba Trappers Association. So they do come forth every year asking for a 50% reduction in the fees to rent the Vilkametsky Wellness Center. Last year, they had it for 2 full years. This year, they've only had it. So their fees kind of fluctuate a little bit. They had for 2 full days last year. This year, it's not really 2 full days. So that cost would fluctuate a little bit for them. And then we have the waiving of fees for 100%, which is once per year. So again, I did itemize Nickel Days in there. Not too sure council would want to keep that in or take that out. And I've also included in the waiving of fees policy the 3 main events that really take place through the joint use agreement that we have with the school district, which are Knights of Columbus, the Festival of the Arts, and the grade 12 graduation ceremony. They are normally always, I guess 2 of the 3 are 100% waiving of fees, but the Knights of Columbus, normally they have paid in the past, but it's known that it is a school event, and it probably would fall under the joint use agreement. They would just be really responsible for maintaining the running lines on the track. So that is noted as well in the waiving of fees policy. So looking for councils, if there's any questions regarding the policy, I'm looking forward to move forward to the council meeting resolution. Comments? Deputy Mayor?
I'm good with this, and it's been a long time coming that we actually have this itemized like this, so it should alleviate all the requests that we do get. I mean, there's always gonna be the one-offs that want the special event status or that, but this is good with me. Thanks for doing this. Finally.
Thank you. Councilor Coburn.
I think, well, we got a arena recreation complex in there. We lose money every year. Every year we lose money. Go back to the budget. And I think the waiving of fees should be stopped. And no more waiving the fees. Don't bring it to council, it's in our bylaw what we want. Right? And I don't know, we're taking away from the Legion. The Legion got a big hall here. For stuff. There's the room for 200 at the St. Joe's Hall. And there's probably room for 350 at the Ukrainian Hall. Right? But we're taking money out of our arena's pocket, which would go into the businesses of our community. So I don't agree in waiving any more fees. And I like that put in the agreement.
Thank you, sir. Just for your information, the Ukrainian Hall has been out of service for about 2 years now. The Manitoba Media Federation owns it, so it's not in there. And you just made a direct contradiction to, you were just asking us to waive fees for an organization that an hour earlier, and now we're saying no waiving of fees. So that's where it gets complicated, and we as a council have to sort of make the decision of which way we're going. Thank you.
I didn't ask to waive their fees. I asked, why you pay 1,200 one year and 5,600 the next year? And I still haven't got my answer.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Anthony?
So we have Councillor Oberdorfer.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Oberdorfer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just the one comment that I wanted to ask of administration when it comes forward next week to our council meeting. The version that was posted showing the edits also shows edits that were not, I guess, accepted or kept in the document. And I guess my concern is just that it might be confusing to the public if they're reviewing what edits have been made to the policy. So if we could get a version that shows only the edits that we're actually discussing amending within the policy, I think that would be helpful just for public perception, for people to understand kind of what changes we're really discussing here. Thank you.
Thank you. Jake, Sonia saying yes. Anthony?
Yes, so we just need a consensus. Are we moving this forward to resolution at the next meeting of council?
Who's in favor of moving this forward for resolution? Show of hands. Opposed? It's moving forward for resolution. 11.2 is a memo from the Director of Recreation and Community Services in regards to waiving the fees for the Manitoba Traffic Association. Sonia.
So again, the Manitoba Traffic Association is the event that takes place yearly at the TRCC in the gymnasium. This year they are in there for just 1 day event. They're going to take it 4 to 7 a day up. The total fees for the, I think it's 9.5 hours 1 day and 7 hours for the setup is $14, $15, $30 this year. So they're looking for a reduction. That's going to be in the fees policy, which would bring it down to $707.65.
Comment? Okay, yeah,
Yeah, so if there's no comments, we'd look to bring it for resolution at the next meeting of council.
everyone. Show of hands, who's willing to bring this forward to the next resolution of council as is? Okay. Opposed? Bring it forward to the next council, please. 12.1, the legislative is a review of the City of Thompson organizational procedure bylaw. Anthony?
Per the Municipal Act, council is required once per term to review your organization and procedures bylaw. This administration is bringing it forward for the first time for your review, not looking for a final decision tonight, but really to bring your attention to your own bylaw and what changes you might want to make. There's only been 2 ideas brought forth so far. One idea is to eliminate the community comments section of the bylaw and keep it only with the delegations. And I believe the second one is to remove the delegation to the city of manager. Right now, the city manager, if there's no quorum, can cancel a meeting. The proposed change would remove that power and leave it back with council as a resolution. So those are the 2 changes that have been proposed so far, but it's really to bring to debate for the council, and we can bring it forth on a future meeting if there's any proposed changes that you'd like us to bring forth for discussion.
Deputy Mayor?
Thanks very much. So, I appreciate you bringing this forward, since I guess I would suggest that no councils have brought anything back to administration that they wanted changes. Is that correct?
Did we circulate it?
Yeah.
It was circulated, so I
Yes.
believe we've only had one comment and then one comment on this, the power of the city manager. That was actually administration recommending that power be removed from the city manager based on our interpretation of the municipal act.
Right, so, and we reviewed this in hard copy, at the end of November last year when Way to Go Consulting was here. And we were told to review it and bring back if you wanted to make any changes. Nobody did. And so I appreciate now you making us action this by bringing it forward tonight. So I would really encourage council, now that you've been in here for a year, to look at this, because this is our bylaw, and reply to them, to administration, on what you'd like to see changed or not changed. Because there's no sense in us debating stuff if you haven't even had the time to read it or to comment when we've been asked to. Because it's just very disrespectful to administration. So if you haven't done that yet, please do it. And if you're not gonna comment, then the administration thinks we're fine with the way it is. So you really have an opportunity. This is our bylaw as a council. This is how we operate as a council, is through this particular bylaw. So I really hope that you'll take the time, look at other municipalities' organizational bylaws throughout the province, see what they're doing. You can ask what's worked, what hasn't, so that we can work effectively as a group through this bylaw, through administration. So
Thank you.
those are my comments. Thanks.
Councilor Dorfman?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My only comment would just be about the suggested change to remove the community comments and feedback, and just being mindful when we do have a discussion or bring forward changes, how we plan to, I guess, have that communication or sort of reach out to the community for them to have the ability to kind of, I guess, bring forward concerns if they do have them. That would be my only comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony?
I believe the way the bylaw is currently written, even with that, the law proposed change, anyone, just like we had tonight, can apply as a delegation and come and speak about any topic and provide whatever information they want. They can also provide correspondence, and then administration brings correspondence forth for council's review. And council can then direct us to set up a meeting or to invite people to come. So there are alternate forms available, but that's really council's decision.
Thank you, Councilor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Somehow when I listened to the administration explain the bylaw brought forward, I'm totally aware of the procedure. Okay, I've been 3 terms. And especially this community comment. And based on what the administration said, the only one person respond to this is say changing the power of the manager. So I'm just wondering, Madam Mayor, who decided to take that out? We didn't give a comment about it.
Okay, I think it's.
So I need to understand that part.
Okay, so any of our comments that we make go into this, and this where it
I
comes to
understand
this
that.
forum to change. So if you
Understand
were
that.
the only one that made a comment, that would be
I
put in.
understand that. That's why he explained very well. Only one person respond, and the only change is the changing the manager power.
No.
But nobody mentioned about take this off.
No.
So why does it?
What I
happen?
explained is that one member of council proposed making changes to the community comments. The administration is recommending taking the city manager's power away. So the city manager's power under that one section, that's us as an administration are recommending that to council. The community comments came forth from a member of council. So those are the 2 proposed changes. So one is from councilors and one is from administration.
Can I follow up? This topic we talked about last term. We've been defeated because we think that is undemocracy, it's not transparency. To me, this direction is bad. It's considered like a dictator to me, because we fought that last term. That's why we put it off. We didn't carry on that. We didn't take it out. That's why it's still there. So whoever tried to bring it back, I think that person showed me that he's trying to be a dictator.
Remember, we have a lot of new councils.
That's fine.
We have a lot of
That's fine.
ideas.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm just saying that is not right. And another suggestion I'd like to do, we should go back to the community, not at home.
And make that suggestion in
Because it
writing
doesn't work.
to administration.
It's been proven doesn't work.
Then make your
So
suggestion,
now I'm
people come
speaking.
forward for discussion.
Can someone take
among
note,
all of
please?
us.
Can someone take note, please?
No, I
The
want
meetings are
you,
minute.
sir, as your responsibility to put
There's
an
not in the
email
procedure I have to send a note. There's no procedure I have to send the request. It's not in the procedural. I'm asking a request. It's not in the procedural. That I must send a note to ask for changes. Show me where does it say that I need to send a note to the administration for changes? It's not.
Kathy,
Thanks, Mayor Smith. First off, I find it's a little bit disrespectful, Councillor Wong, how you're approaching this
Of
right
course,
now.
always.
Yes, of course. I do find it a little disrespectful, and I find it disrespectful to our administration. So I think that the ask is, if you want to make changes, they would like them in writing so they can get them prepared to bring back to this council to discuss it. We're not saying, nobody's saying they don't want to discuss changes, but you have to put your comments to administration so they know. So send an email and send them what you want, or drop it off in a letter, whatever you want to do. That's the process right now that I think is the one.
Right?
I think Mayor Smokey, I'd like to ask if we can get a consensus to have a date set for councillors to reply back to this.
I was
We can
thinking
move this
December
forward.
22nd would be a good date. I was just checking if.
I would like to make a comment too, please.
Mhm.
This thing here, the only disrespectful thing is to the people of Thompson. That's the only disrespect. You're giving them no avenue to come in here and express what they mean. Or write in the comment and then back it up. Yet you close down the committees and done the committee of the whole. And here we are, right? Committee of the whole. Nobody from the public is putting anything in. Nobody. One councillor here voted to take that away. One councillor put in the notion to take it away.
One councillor put in the idea,
Yeah.
other councillors could put in others. As you was said at the beginning, this was all that was recommended. So
Right.
please put in your recommendations by December 22nd is what I would like to put the date, and I will ask for consensus in writing to administration to what changes you want to see or what changes based on what they have given that you don't want to see. And then it will be discussed as
But
a.
Mayor, we wanted to change lots. Right? We sat in this council and talked about it, but we always get voted down. So now you want us to sit down, write paragraphs and suggestions, and when we come in here, we get voted down. Right? We can't come into council and make any suggestions. The public can even come in and make any suggestions these days, or that one council said they don't want them there. Right? So it's not right. We've got to get the public back. And everybody on this council says they've talked to the people. I've talked to the people. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. Thank you. I want to have no further comment on this.
By a show, sorry, Councilor Oberdorfer. You're on mute.
Sorry, I just realized I'm muted. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was just gonna add, I guess, also just in terms of our ability as council to be prepared in terms of what we're voting on. And
You have frozen.
Froze up.
Unless I'm sitting on the bridge.
We've got nice teeth.
Okay.
implications of those policy changes before the meeting. And I would appreciate having time to properly review the policy changes that are being recommended before the meeting. So I appreciate being asked to send in advance. I'm not saying that I'm not going to be in favor of people's suggestions. I think that in order for us to be properly prepared, we need to have that information before we come to the meeting. And that's all that's being asked of us from council right now, is that we send that information in advance of the meeting so that the package can be properly prepared, not just for us as a council, but also for the public to know what we're going to be discussing at our meeting. So if we bring in changes on the fly at a meeting and vote on them, the public does not have time to have any awareness that we're bringing forward those suggested changes. And if they want to come forward and make comments about things that we're changing on the agenda, and it's not brought forward beforehand, how can they do that? So I think it is fair to not just administration, but council and the public, that we bring forward our suggested changes so that they can be put on the agenda for the meeting and a part of the meeting package. Thank you.
Thank you.
Isn't that what we're doing now?
No.
Right.
Councilor Wong.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a concern tonight. Every time when I speak, I have two councillors attack me personally, say I'm disrespectful. I never talk about the administration. I talked the question direct to you. You are the chair. I said, why and how? Why is it painted me as a disrespectful? Why? I want that to be stopped. It happens so many times already. I get sick of tired about this. All right? Why? Because I'm a minority to treat me differently?
No,
Why keep on saying that? I did not say any word bad about administration. I asked the question direct to you.
I know, but you are quite often, you are challenging our.
No, don't paint it again. You try to do that too. Why? Why? Why can't we have a good conversation?
Because it always seems to be.
Because you allow that.
We're not.
That's why I
I
escalated
am
to
not
now.
going to pursue this here. Thank you, sir.
What thank you? There's no thank you. I need it to be stopped.
Okay. Anyway, pursuant to this organization procedure bylaw, I'm proposing that by December 22nd, we hand in all our concerns in writing or either by letter, by email to administration, to changes we want to see, so they will be shown before we come to the next meeting. Who is in favor of that? Opposed? Okay, so all writing, all changes go to Tammy, right? By December 22nd to be added into a following meeting. Anthony?
Yeah, so administration will compile those through the break and into
Yes.
early January.
Yes,
Bring them forth in January to a committee of the whole.
yes, thank you. 12.2 is a memo from the executive assistant in regards to appointing council representatives to controlled entities. Anthony?
Yeah, so annually, our administrative assistant has prepared this. Council has to appoint by resolution, appointments to controlled entities, which are the Thompson Library Board, Boreal Discovery Center, Thompson Recycling Center, and the Thompson Housing Agency. So we'd like to bring that forth on December 11th for resolution. If people want to send their names forward ahead of time, that can be done so and we can compile them. Otherwise, that evening, the names would either have to be put forth or you'd have to have a small election on the spot to who is the appointee to each of those committees.
Thank you. Does everybody understand that? That by December 11th, we need either express your name, it can come forward, put your name forward that you would like to be the representative on one of those controlled entities. You send that information to Tammy. And if she gets more than one person, we can talk among ourselves before the meeting and see if it's narrowed down to one or if there's going to be an election. And if there's nobody that comes forward, we'll get people to come forward on the 11th and move those entities. Show of hands, who's in favor of that? Opposed? Carried. Twelve point 4 is a review of the committee of the whole meeting of the council schedule. Anthony?
So the administration prepared a proposed schedule for meetings based on the current organ procedure bylaw for next year, taking into account the statutory holidays and other considerations. So a few things that you have to consider is that on top of the holidays, there's several trips that council typically takes. One being the AMM Spring Convention, the FCM Convention, and then the AMM Fall Convention. And those are usually trips that make it difficult to achieve quorum those weeks of those travel. So just proposed, does this require a resolution? So it would come forth for resolution unless there's any changes required by council.
Okay, is everyone okay with this coming forward on the 11th for resolution by show of hands?
Well, I have a question, Madam Mayor. Is this all the date all good? Because last time we had a problem with the date, so we had to do an amendment. Is all these date been checked? Everything is okay?
Well, all the dates have been checked, but if there's an error, then it would be corrected at that time.
Or some of the conventions may not have their dates out yet, and then they in turn conflict with our schedule. And that's when it comes forward, we have to make a change.
Fine, thank you.
Thank you.
There.
Councilor Oberdorfer?
There.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just had a question. There was an asterisk beside the April 1st date. And I was just curious if that, like, I know it said city administration is open on that. I think it said the city facilities are open on that day. So are we meeting on Monday, the April 1st, like Easter Monday, or would it be Tuesday?
Easter Monday, we meet on Easter Monday.
We continue to meet on Easter Monday because city administration takes King Miners Day in lieu of Easter Monday, I believe, right? So the city's typically open on on Easter Monday.
Okay, so it's just to highlight that it's a holiday, but we're still meeting then. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
That's right.
It's, in some areas, it's a holiday.
That's part of the collective bargaining agreement under steel.
Okay. 12.5 is a letter from Honorable Renee Cable, Minister of Advanced Education and Training in regards to the congratulations.
It's just a general letter of information for council congratulating, it was a congratulatory letter to the minister for their appointment. And they just said that they'll be making plans to come visit the city of Thompson. So just for information.
Thank you. With that, I call for adjournment. Deputy Mayor Valentino, Councilor Fitzpatrick, all those in favor? Carry.